Bonjour, c'est Rory, je suis de retour et aujourd'hui on va faire une vidéo un petit peu différente à tous les autres, tout simplement parce que je veux vous montrer tous ce que j'ai fait récemment cette semaine avec l'un de mes étudiants. J'ai 5 en ce moment et c'est ce que je vais vous montrer. C'est vraiment quelque chose de pratique dont vous pourriez faire vous-même avec votre français. Donc, allons-y. All right, so I'm going to share screen here and I'll show you exactly what I complete for one of my students. So he's my first student that I've had. I've been with him since March now. So I've been working with him for about 5.5 months. And so he started with me in March. His goal originally, and it is still his end goal, is to go to Canada and get there by the way of French. So in Canada, depending on how much you know about it, I'll quickly tell you, in order to work over there, of which he wants to do, there's particular provinces in Canada where getting over there to work is much easier if you know French. So for him, he's currently working in the Middle East. He's from the Middle East, and he wants to go over and apply for citizenship. Firstly, visa, then citizenship with his French that he can use in that Canadian province. And so to that effect, he asked if, do we think I can get him to a good French level in January, by January 2025, so he can pass the exam. So basically from March, I've worked with him to outline an exact plan he can follow. And here's the updated plan that I sent to him just yesterday that he will be following in order to achieve his goal of passing the exam, where he's getting to a B2/C1 reading, listening, speaking, writing all together. So I'll show you what that looks like. So firstly, we've got here, I just told it that path from intermediate to advanced French. That's simply because above this August line, because August, that's just for now, that's where I completed yesterday naturally. He started in March. He was at an A1, which just means beginning, reading, listening. His speaking was basically zero, same with writing. And so for him, it was really getting the reading and listening up to the best possible level, which would be a B1, B2 in the shortest amount of time. And to do that, we focus on the Assimil French with Ease book. I've mentioned this one before. It's my absolute favorite book for beginners. It's the exact one that I use personally. I'll show you the book here as well. So this is what it looks like. So it's a book that you can buy online. Let's see, right here, I'll bring it over. Yep. So this book right here, so you can see it online. It's Assimil book. And so this pack here, it comes with the USB as well, which gives you the audio. And essentially for the book, what the lessons look like, there's 113 of them, /100, depends what edition you get. And if we have a look at the first lesson, this is built for someone at an absolute beginner level. And so this is what he started to use back in March. And so you can see on the left-hand side there, we've got the French writing. So each of the chapters is about 100 of them, as I said. And so for each chapter, you've got a story, a conversation, and through that, you've got each of the individual sentences that are split out, where you have the French with the audio that you listen to as you're going through, and then you've got the English on the other side. And keeping in mind here, we start at lesson 1. The level is perfect for beginners. It's exactly what I use. And then as you go through, you can really see that the level, it picks up. And by the time you're at the end of the book, you're completing, this is lesson, so which one? Let's see. Yep, 109. So 109, that's an intermediate level of French. And that's where you can get to B1, B2 level in 4 or 5 months, even 3 months, if you're putting in a little bit extra time a day. We usually do about 2 lessons every day. This is obviously depending on time commitment. My 4 other students, there's one who's a bit more relaxed. So he completes, one, even, 2 lessons sometimes, say every second day. But then I've got another student who loves it and he's doing three lessons a day. So you can see here, you're moving through. And the thing is with this book, it's a book where, because it's split out so simply, where you've got the French on one side, you've got the English on the other, you're able to merge the 2 languages. Now, that's something very important because lots of French textbooks for beginners, they don't have the English translation or they don't have the French audio. We want both because we want you to be reading in French, listening in French, same thing. So we're doing it at the exact same time. So there you're getting 2 times the output, basically. You're 2 times as productive. So if you study for 30 minutes, I see it as you're studying for 60 minutes. Now then, on the other hand, we've also got the English translation to the French audio and writing. And what that gives you is an absolute essential support where you're beginning, because the hardest part in French or learning any other language is going from beginner to intermediate. And in order to get there, having the English support on the translation and say allowing yourself to cheat as well is very important. Now, this is the good kind of cheating, okay? I'm completely against the bad kind, but this is the good kind where, say you're reading through here. So keeping in mind, we're not speaking the French at this point. I only started speaking once I personally was up to month 5, 6 of my French. I didn't speak out loud in French yet because my brain wasn't ready. And that's what I teach my students. So we're just keeping in mind, we're reading here. And so we're following through. Okay. Yeah, I'm listening to the audio, plays through. Okay, perfect. Now I've listened to it and I've read it. I'm thinking in my head, what does that mean? What does the French mean? Okay, I'm working out. I can say this, say gentleman or man. His name is, yep. And okay, let's say I don't know that word. Set, I know that means this. I don't know what that means. So I'll go over here and I'll just read the English. So I'm allowing myself to see the answer so I can merge up the two languages. So I'm reading through and I'm going, yep, I got all of that right. Perfect. And this lady is his wife. Perfect. So now I know. And now I know every time I see dame, that's meaning lady. And I've merged the two languages. Allowing yourself to do that is very positive. And so he went through that book. He did very well. He really liked it, especially because each of the lessons is completely different. It's not like, okay, here's grammar rule 1, grammar rule 2, grammar rule 500. It's none of that. Every single lesson is different. So I'll even quickly go back. So this one, it's simply, okay, we've got a certain gentleman, Henri, et sa femme, okay, his wife, yep. And then they're coming up and they're speaking with other people on the form. They're filling out some form at the town hall. No worries. We'll go to another lesson. Okay, now we're talking about supermarkets in France. Okay, the different kinds of meat, poultry, vegetables, fruits they sell. And then you'll have another lesson where it's a mum talking to a daughter in the kitchen, or they're joking around. There's different things as a variation. That's exactly why it can be engaging, even for a learner who likes different resources. We can bring those in as well. But that Assimil book there, it's a real important resource. And it's one that is absolutely key to building up a good reading and listening level so we can get you speaking at month 5, 6 and beyond. Because if you don't have good reading and listening, it's extremely difficult to speak. As I said before, me personally, I didn't speak French for the first 5, 6 months. I started at month 5, 6, and then by the time I was at month 12, I was speaking really well. I wasn't fluent. Okay, I wasn't completely fluent speaking. I was pretty fluent, as in I could speak well and engage in conversation, but I couldn't talk about everything. But by the time I'd been speaking for 12 months, so that'd be total of say 18 months study, I was speaking really well and the accent was nice as well. And I could flow avec le français. So it's something where if you speak from the start, what I've found is people who do that, their accent's not going to be that good and their flow of speaking French, it's going to be forced because in their head, with regards to French, they haven't soaked it in enough in order to really understand how to allow the French to naturally come. And that's where doing the strong base of reading and listening with the Assimil book and with a couple of other resources, which aren't as important, but can also work, such as easy podcasts, easy videos as well, can help to build that base. And then you jump into speaking and it's much easier. So that's that first step there. So by August, he was complete with the book. He started in March once again. And so now his reading and listening is at B1. And remembering that down here, his goal is to get to the Canada exam, the citizenship and visa exam. He needs to be reading, speaking, listening, and writing in French really well, B2 level. So we're keeping that in mind here. We do the reading and listening first. We target that. And now we're moving down and we're going, okay, well, I want to up that reading and listening level and then bring in some speaking. So the next jump is part B, basically. It's, okay, Netflix and YouTube or any other video content. And so we're starting to watch. We're watching TV shows, movies, other videos that you choose. Any topic. If you like cars, do cars. If you like cooking, cooking. If you like houses, houses. If you like travel, travel. Doesn't matter. Me personally, I like geography, history, certain educational videos. I'll watch on that. I love sport as well. So you can pick your own topics here. And this is where you're learning to understand real French without English translation. Remembering that back to the Assimil book, we're relying on for the first couple of months, 3, 4, 5 months, depending on how fast you move with the book. You've got the French reading, you've got the English translation, and you've got the French audio. Now here, we're taking away the English translation and we're leaving the French reading. We're always using subtitles with all of the videos, all of the Netflix and all of the YouTube videos. And then we're also keeping that audio, which is very important. Now, the key thing here is when you don't understand something with the French subtitles, pause right away, right? Pause, stop, go and look up with your favorite translator tool. I'll show you mine. It's called Reverso. This one right here. Now, this one, my absolute favorite. If we're taking a sentence, there's that one there. Perfect. Now, I really like this one simply because you can put in a large bulk of text and it can give out the exact translation really well. And it also, sometimes as well with certain words and sentences, it'll give you other examples of where you can use it in sentence. So it's much better than just a Google Translator found. It's actually not that accurate, interestingly, but Reverso there, that's my favorite. And that's where if you're going through, not that one, this one here, if you're going through and you're watching a YouTube video and you don't understand a certain French word, pause, go and look it up, put the full sentence in, understand the context of where that word's placed, and then you'll rewatch that little part of the video. So if you didn't understand a certain word, you'd pause it, you'd go look it up in the translator, you'd come back to the video, read the French subtitle again, remembering we're not using English subtitles, just French, because we're removing the English translation, and there you can understand the sentence of what's happening, and then you continue on. So you rewatch that little part you didn't understand. So we're doing that there, and this is getting him ready to speak and write French well, because I've said this in a previous video, it's where to be able to speak good and talk about something really well. So if you want to speak good French, you got to read and listen good in French. If I want to do good presentations here on how to learn French, I need to know how to learn French in the first place, right? So that's the only reason I've got my channel here. It's really to help people because I know I can do it. I know I can speak well about it. That's why I'm sitting here and I'm able to talk about this document that I just completed yesterday for one of my students, and say hopefully you can see I know what I'm talking about simply because I've learned French myself. If I had to give you a presentation on how to make the world's best YouTube videos, I wouldn't know what to talk about. I'm not that good at YouTube videos, but I know how to pardon me, I know how to help people learn French, so I focus on that. Now, if it was something like, okay, for you to be able to speak good French, you need to know good French. You need to have the words and sentences in your brain ready to produce. And so that's where focusing on building reading and listening level up allows the speaking to follow. I see there's say a horse and carriage. You've got the horse out the front, which is your reading and listening level, and then the carriage that simply follows. Your speaking will only go as far as your reading and listening enables it to. So that's where September, so next month, we're really going to focus on bringing in the speaking and writing daily. We're doing this because now we're going to move up the reading, the comprehension, the listening level really fast with the YouTube and Netflix videos, because for him, he's been used to the Assimil book where you've got nice voice actors speaking all clearly and it's nice and slow. And yes, it goes a bit faster in certain points. And yes, there's words he doesn't understand. However, once we jump out into the wild French, which is YouTube videos in French and Netflix videos in French, or TV shows, movies in French, it's made for French people. So the Assimil book is made for French learners, just like you. But the videos that you find on YouTube, the ones that we're going to watch, are made for French native speakers or for advanced French learners. So it's a bit higher than just a beginner level. So that's where we can get his reading and listening up to a B2 level. And now I'm happy. So in summary, he's been working on his reading and listening for about 6 months now. And now we can bring in the speaking and writing. And keeping in mind, again, the reason we do this is for French, I see it as we've got two things with French: inputs, outputs. Inputs, reading and listening; outputs, speaking and writing. If you don't have your inputs good, your outputs are going to be very difficult to produce. But if your inputs are really nice and you've got great reading, great listening, great comprehension, you understand the flow of French, you know what's going on, you don't worry about grammar. Okay, that's another thing. That's why I always got to keep making videos on grammar, because people get confused. They focus on grammar. It's a completely wrong thing to do. Once your reading and listening is good, your writing and speaking, that will flow and it will follow. And so here as well, we're moving through. So reading and listening continues to get improved, even once we started the speaking, because your reading and listening doesn't go anywhere. It really is the base for knowing good French. And so this is where the Assimil book, the one that was complete, started in March, complete in August. This one, we're going to review that. And he's happy to go back to it every third or fourth day. This is completely up to preference as well. This plan I'm building out, I had a chat with him before I even started this document. I had an idea. I'm like, hey, I want to put together a timeline for you. What do you think? And he's like, yep, perfect. And then I ran off each of these items to him and said, each of these months, does that make sense to you? And he said, yep, that seems all right. Draft it up and then I'll have a look. Sent this to him. He's happy with it. And so this is where person to person is going to be different. For him, we can see that the next step, when we're hitting October 2024, now we're going to study directly on the exam. And we're going to do that through practice exams. Keeping in mind that for him, when he joined back in March, he really just wanted to study the exam from the start. But I said to him, I mean, we can do that if you really want to. But what I'd suggest we do is just simply focus on building up your good French level. And then the exam is just going to be easy, simply because the exam is mainly based on you being able to understand French and then produce French as well through your speaking and through your writing. The reading and listening part, we focus on that for the first half. So that's where we're focusing on it for 5-6 months. And then we'll bring the speaking, where the speaking is simply going to work off the level you've developed for your reading and listening. And so we're starting studying there in October. And then when we move to November, it's a good overall French level. So at this point, I'm saying overall French level is B2. So reading and listening, B2/C1, which means a strong intermediate slash, almost hitting fluency really, as in the reading and listening that he's doing, he's able to listen without reading and he's able to read, really well without listening. And at this point, he's really picking up on the certain tones and flow of the French language. He doesn't have to worry about every little word and understanding it, because overall he can step back and go, okay, I don't understand that word, but I can still work out the sentence. And that's what you'll find as you progress further with French. It's really a mindset thing. So his reading and listening is really good, and his speaking is getting good because he's been speaking now for a couple of months every day. And then finally, just preparing for the exam in December. That's our plan. And so this is where we're really going over those certain sections that he's, say, a bit nervous about or low confidence on. And so we can target in and hone on that. So that's where if he's a little bit, say, low on confidence for writing, we're going to do writing exercises. And then we can really, bring his confidence up so that he knows that each section of the exam he's prepared for. And so now in January, we're hitting there. That's where he has set to do the exam. So he's booked in for that. And that's where he has got it in his calendar. He knows he's going to have the exam then. That's when he wants to take it. So at that point, he's going to have a B2/C1. And keeping in mind, when we talk about A1, B2, C1, that's just a way of saying, every time we say A, that's just beginner, B is intermediate, and C is fluent slash advanced. And so for him, he's at a really strong intermediate/advanced level. And then he's done all the hard work. And then I'm saying the exam is going to be easy. I'm a real fan of positive affirmation. So if you say something as many times as you like, basically, if you keep repeating something, it really can become the truth. And that's where positivity is key with learning French, because there's lots of things that are hard. And having say a plan like this, like you could go out and, build one for yourself, or just maybe might help you, give you a certain idea of what to do to learn French, then that's excellent. Now, with this plan overall, this is something that I built for each of my students, and it's something where flowing through, you can really see each of the months and what is to be done in order to achieve your goals. So each of these plan documents completely unique to each of the students that I work with. As I said, I've got 5 I'm working with at the moment. This first guy here, he joined in March. And then I've got the most recent joinees late in July, late last month. So if this is something you might be interested in, there's always a link in the description for any of my videos. If you'd like to have just a quick one-on-one chat, and then I can see if you might be suitable to join the program. It's definitely not for everyone. But if I think that I can help you, and if I think you'd be a good fit, then I can consider bringing you in and helping you one-on-one also achieve your French goals. I hope this video was useful. I wish you the best of week, and I'll see you in the next video. See you.